Imagine a world where architecture is not constructed, but sculpted, where arches rise like flowing rivers, spires bloom like sunflowers, and walls hum with the music of the cosmos. This vision reflects the hidden lineage of ancient and early medieval architecture, an era when builders aligned their creations not only with function and beauty, but also with cosmic rhythm, light, and sound. Architecture as living resonance. In early civilizations, architecture often acted as a bridge between earth and sky. Temples, cathedrals, and sacred sites were designed to embody harmonic proportions, the same ratios that appear in music, geometry, and the natural world. Structures appeared as though sculpted by rhythm and time itself. They flowed like rivers, shaped by movement and energy. They spiraled like sunflowers, turning toward sources of light and vitality. They paused in stillness like reflective lakes, crystallizing moments of perfect alignment. These spaces did not simply occupy land. They interacted with the cycles of nature, resonating with light, shadow, and sound to create living geometries that mirrored the cosmos. The hidden sculptors of harmonic space. The people who shaped these resonant spaces lived at the intersection of art, science, and spirituality. Historical traces suggest they were temple sound workers and acoustic engineers who tuned chambers to specific frequencies, as seen in Malta's Hal Saflieni hypogeum or Egyptian temples. Geomantic architects aligning buildings to solstices, equinoxes, and stellar paths to synchronize earthly structures with celestial cycles. Mystic builders and monastic artisans who safeguarded esoteric knowledge of sacred geometry and embedded it into the design of cathedrals, abbeys, and temples. These figures acted as guardians of resonance, working quietly and collaboratively to ensure architecture became a living dialogue between human intention and cosmic order. Why the knowledge was concealed. This subtle technology gradually faded as society shifted toward industrial and material-focused building. Working with vibration, light, and harmonic flow required patience, awareness, and sensitivity, qualities that were not easily preserved in eras of conquest and expansion. Knowledge was veiled in symbolism, preserved in myth and sacred texts rather than taught openly. Fear of misuse arose, as structures capable of forming or transforming through energy could be misunderstood or seen as threatening. Practitioners became rare and protective, existing at the edges of society to guard the purity of this work. Aligning architecture with the sky. Many ancient and early medieval buildings, Stonehenge, the Great Pyramids, Notre Dame, Chartres, aligned precisely with celestial events. These alignments were intentional and deeply meaningful. They anchored human life to the cosmos, marking solstices, equinoxes, and the rising of key stars. They functioned as living instruments of time, where light and shadow moved through interiors in harmony with the heavens. They created reciprocity between earth and sky, inviting the energy of seasonal cycles into human spaces. Stepping into such spaces during these celestial moments would feel like entering a breathing star map, where architecture and the universe resonate as one. A whisper from the past. The story of these builders reminds us that architecture was once a living conversation with the cosmos. Spaces were not static. They pulsed with light, sound, and time, aligning human life with the rhythms of the universe. Today, fragments of this legacy remain in cathedral acoustics, sacred geometry, and sky-aligned monuments. They invite us to remember that true architecture is not only shelter, it is a bridge between earth and stars, a vessel for resonance, and a reflection of the timeless music of creation. Divine sculptors, kings and deities as cosmic builders. Throughout ancient history, the act of building was never seen as mere construction. It was a sacred collaboration between human and divine forces. Many cultures preserved myths and records of kings, deities, and master artisans who sculpted temples, palaces, and sacred spaces as extensions of the cosmos itself. Vishvakarman, the celestial architect. In Vedic and Hindu traditions, Vishvakarman embodies the idea of the universe as a sacred design. He is the divine architect who built legendary cities like Lanka and crafted the celestial halls of the gods. His creations were said to be aligned with cosmic order, reflecting the belief that true architecture harmonizes with the movements of the heavens. Ptah, the heart and tongue of creation. For the ancient Egyptians, Ptah of Memphis was the god of artisans, masons, and builders. He was believed to speak the world into form, using thought and speech to manifest temples and sacred objects. Pharaohs who erected pyramids and sanctuaries often dedicated their work to Ptah, acknowledging him as the hidden architect behind human hands. Kothar Wakasis, architect of the divine realms. In Ugaritic myth, Kothar Wakasis is the craftsman of the gods, a builder, musician, and magician. He designed palaces for Baal and other deities, using sound, skill, and sacred knowledge to create spaces that were both functional and resonant with spiritual power. His work symbolizes architecture as a bridge between worlds, weaving ritual, geometry, and living energy into every stone. Mesopotamian master artisans, Arazu, Ninagal, and Ninildu. In Babylonian and Sumerian tradition, the act of building a temple was an extension of divine will. Arazu was created to oversee temple construction, ensuring each structure honored the gods. Ninagal, the divine smith, forged the tools and gates, shaping metal with spiritual significance. Ninildu, the celestial carpenter, crafted wooden elements of temples and palaces, embedding cosmic intention in the framework. Together, these mythic artisans remind us that in ancient eyes, architecture was a sacred act of resonance, a material expression of divine patterns and celestial alignment. Sacred structures as living geometry. These stories point to a universal truth. For ancient societies, the form of a building was an echo of the cosmos. Aligning with solstices, star paths, and harmonic proportions, temples and palaces were sculpted from the fabric of time and space, not merely assembled from stone and wood. Kings and builders acted as co-creators with the divine, leaving behind structures that still hum with their original intention.